Hey, welcome back, everybody. Of course, this is Dr. Keith McNally, and this may be rambling, so I'm going to do a double check because usually my videos are one shots, means I'm trying to get a point across, and very typically I'm able to do that very well when I'm in the moment and I've got the camera running and everything's going. And as long as I've had my coffee, my Hershey's coffee, I'm usually in good shape with getting a point across. Now, I like talking about my daughter, and my daughter is a really key focal point for me, especially since we have transitioned to virtual learning. So, schools here in Virginia have adopted either a hybrid or allowed for a complete virtual learning experience as on the tail end of this academic year, the 2020-2021 academic year. So yes, I've just dated myself and I was told that it's probably not a good thing to do that, but I could always go back and revisit the content later. But with that in mind, I've chosen to keep her home for the last 9 weeks of the year. And because I've helped her transition into the virtual classroom because I'm able to use project-based learning ideas and concepts. Now, the school systems here in Virginia have not adopted this. This is my own personal and professional ideology in terms of learning, and it's based on questions. So I've already did some content on looking at a project that she was given on in the Industrial Revolution and how it's very limited in scope. It's very focused, it's very limited, and I think there's very limited learning takeaways because most of the content quite literally is given to students and they just need to practice their copy paste skills. Now, I as soon as I say that, I'm thinking, well, there's a lot of teachers out there saying, well, Dr. McNally, you don't know what it's like. Well, I do know what it's like. And I know what it's like in several different levels, being an educator, being a teacher, and being a parent, and also understanding there's a lot of burden on a lot of different people for a lot of different reasons, but we can't neglect the learning of our students whether or not they're not our own children, because but there needs to be a better way. And so from the governance perspective, from the district level, from the local level, from the teacher level, and from the parent level, there's lots of people voicing their concerns about what has been done, what should be done, and those debates will go on and on. So like I said, this is kind of going back and forth with a bunch of rambling, but I just want to say we can't neglect the learning of our young folk, especially my daughter. I'm not going to let that go away because it's not just about data dumping and say, read this, memorize it, understand it for later use. It's just not going to work. You have to give them an opportunity to do the dive, get into the material, make sense of the material, ask questions about the material, wrap it around an idea, content, context, and so forth, and then produce something that makes sense to you as the individual or the student. So, in terms of the Industrial Revolution project, it was data, it was mapping it to a slide deck, mapping that to a virtual poster, and then kind of creating a persuasive essay as to why this information is important. Okay, so there may have been some learning, but I'm saying let's flip the coin. And that's going to be my phraseology moving forward because I kind of like it. Using PBL content or using PBL methodology, we can then better engage students in the learning process by asking questions and having them ask questions. And that's really critical. And then developing a plan of action that they think is appropriate with teacher guidance. I'm not neglecting the role of the teacher in any of this. As the parent, I was right there helping her create those questions, create the plan of action, the action plan, and then creating the focus as to where do we need to go find the answers. And so I don't mean just go to Google. I mean, once we're at Google and we post the inquiry into Google, what should we be looking for? What specific information should we be looking for? And it's not just about, grabbing this and that. I said, let's make it a focused plan of attack. We want to have that plan of action. So we want specific deliverables. We want to look for specific content, and we want to have specific answers. So I'm going to go more in depth to this as we go forward. So in future months, weeks, days, I'm going to start looking at the how-to of PBL versus the bigger picture of PBL. So that's my rant and rave for today. That's my soapbox. I'm going to stand on it. I'm sticking to it, and I'll see you next time. Take care.